Welcome to the Read 'em and Weep Book Club. Today, we're doing a bonus episode. So we decided we need a little rom-com in our life because, you know, life is life. And so our new guest is Catherine, and she decided to pick this book, The Unhoneymooners.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
I love being able to laugh along the way in a love story because that's how life is. It's usually funny and complicated.
Absolutely. I think you are the best person to pitch this book. So how about you give the listeners a little sneak peek of what this book is about so that they can go read it and then come back and listen to our discussion.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Well, the two main characters that you meet at first are two sisters who could not be more polar opposite of each other. They both believe in, good luck versus bad luck. So the one sister is completely put together.
Amy.
Yes, she, has made all the right choices, like with her education, her job. She's found apparently the perfect husband and getting married. And then there's her sister, Olive, who could not have any less luck. I would say that. Do not send her to Vegas.
No.
Anything that could have gone wrong in her life does.
Yes, she is the unlucky penny if there could be.
Yes, exactly. And so Olive ends up, I would say... Well, I don't want to give too much away.
Here, let's set it up a little for you.
Let's just say that it starts with a wedding with these two sisters. The oldest one is getting married, and she's marrying Dane, which is the younger brother, and the oldest is Ethan.
And Ethan and Olive cannot get along.
At all. There is much banter going on from the very beginning of the book. I mean, almost all the way until the end. And it's entertaining just to have them be.
And let's just say at the wedding, the tables turn and luck flips. And Olive ends up having to spend a lot of time with Ethan on her sister's honeymoon. And we'll leave it at that.
Oh, that's true. That would wrap it up nice and neat. They go on the honeymoon.
And that's where we're going to leave you with that.
That's where we're going to leave it.
Go read it and come back because, man, there's a lot to talk about.
I found many times during the book I am sitting there laughing out loud.
Yeah, me too. It really felt for me like almost like a 90s rom-com. It had all those great aspects of it.
Oh, yes. The
just
sister
hilarious.
In the ugly green dress.
Yes. Okay, so we'll leave it at that. Go read it, and we will see you soon. Okay. Hi, guys. I know you've read it, so what did you think?
I haven't read too many rom-coms, but the one, I would say this is one of my top choices. It's a slow simmer in the relationship. If you're looking for a lot of smut, I don't know if this is it.
This is not that spicy.
This is not that spicy. But I love the real life relationship where you go from just like, oh, you just annoy me and frustrate me. And then all of a sudden that simmer builds and you just end up in a very tight embrace.
Yes. That's so funny.
And at this point in time, like, use your imagination.
Exactly.
Because I think if it was a book, they would give us a little bit of everything because they've built up for so long now, so many years. Okay.
All right. So, full disclaimer on my end. This was a book that I did not finish. So, everything that I say can and will be used against me. I really liked the idea of it. I thought it was great. But reading it, I struggled. I struggled finding the romance of it because I thought it was hilarious and like the situations that this author's actually two people if you didn't know that. I thought that was really cool.
Actually,
these two like best friends.
Yes.
So I thought they were excellent with the humor, but finding that romance was really hard for me because she kept putting these characters in such like awkward situation. Like, there was this quote. He is massaging her butt. And I did not feel the romance at all. I felt so uncomfortable reading that.
When they're in the massage room
and
together?
he's just like, and she's like, oh, wow, I really like it. I'm like, this feels uncomfortable.
It was uncomfortable. The way she's describing it, because you're getting way ahead. Holy moly.
Sorry, I had to talk about this.
Well, let's build up. So what you've read so far, give me your beginning rating.
Yes, okay.
So 1 out of 10.
I love... So, like, beginning rating as in before, like going into it, what I think? Or?
Yeah, going into it. Since you haven't gotten all the way to the end, what would you rate it just right now from what you've read?
A 4.
Okay, you would give it a 4.
I know.
Okay. That was lower than I thought that it would be.
Maybe you have to tell me. You're the one that finished it.
Oh,
so,
man.
how... much better does it get? Because I'm at a par. I don't know if I can continue. I gave it, I guess I had 4 chances. These were like, one's like, ooh, or I'm gonna keep going. 2, everyone believes in third chances, and I had a third. And then when I got to this 4th part, him massaging her butt cheek, how they described it, I was like, I can't do this anymore.
It may not be when it comes to comedy. Comedy is a work of art, and sometimes the humor is not for everyone. Just like not everyone can get on board with like Eddie Murphy's humor versus like Robin Williams' humor. They can be like an extreme depending upon what it is. And so the humor and banter between Olive and Ethan, just the embarrassing situations.
Oh, I know.
The embarrassing situations just in front of him in general, such as her dress ripping all the way down the back and him catching her in the hallway.
I know.
That is an embarrassing thing in itself. And maybe it's funny for me because I have definitely had situations in my life.
I do see the funny part. Like I don't hate against it. It feels like the perfect rom-com, like an hour and a half movie.
Oh,
and this is a lot longer than an hour and a half, reading this. So it feels a lot longer of being in these uncomfortable just situations that I feel myself blushing, just be like, oh God.
and they're big situations too, like finding her boss at in Maui and then having to make him pretend to be her husband.
Here, let's go into that. What did you think?
That was
her hugging him naked in a row.
Well, hold on. So let's get to that because they get this awkward couples massage, because this whole honeymoon is supposed to be based on like her sister and her fiance. And so because they're having to go on this honeymoon together, all these activities have been planned for a husband and a wife. And so they get a massage, and it's not just like a couples massage as in like husband and wife go into the room and they get 2 separate people. It is, hey, we're going to teach you how to massage your partner and vice versa. And it's supposed to be sensual and connecting. Yes. And they're like, don't touch me. But it starts something for her because he is having to, can you imagine someone that you're like, you find them like sexy and attractive, but they're also super infuriating that you just want to punch him in the face. And then all of a sudden this man with these sexy hands are just like touching you everywhere that you're like, oh, okay. Yes. And so you're turned on and you're like, why am I turned on? Stop it.
Yes. And I thought it was so funny before how they had to go in the hot tub, like naked before. And there's a part, it was so funny. It was on page 180 to 181. He says, I think we're good, he says, and smiles his megawatt smile. Thank you. Enjoy, she bows, and then quietly closes the door behind her. The hot tub gurgles between us. And they're just both looking at each other going like, gurgles. Oh gosh, I have to go. That part made me actually laugh. The hot tub gurgles between us.
It is. It's a funny, awkward situation, especially when he starts like moving slowly out of the hot tub and she's like,
yes.
Oh, okay, I see a V. There's a V there. Okay. And then she's got to slowly like look away.
Exactly.
So the sexual tension does start to build. When I say a simmer, it is a very slow saute.
Yes.
And that is not something for everyone. Like, there's no rip off the Band-Aid moment.
Oh, no, I love that about this book. I really do. The reason I give it a 4 is just, like, I guess the humor itself. Like, I love it for an hour and a half.
Yes.
It was just, it takes a while to read a book for me. So.
And I'm curious because this has been picked up for a movie. And
yeah,
I think it was picked up in
great.
2021. And I don't know who's going to be cast or when it's going to come out. But I think if it's done right, it could be hilarious, laugh out loud.
Yes.
I would go see it. I would definitely pay to go see it in a movie.
So what did you think about Ethan?
Oh, so here's the twist and plot that Dana hasn't got to.
Yeah.
And they discover this in Maui, like later together. Olivia and Ethan, where you think that Ethan has been taking Amy's fiance on all these trips.
Wait, I did get to that part.
And keeping her like away from her sister Amy, and like just you feel that Ethan is slightly like sabotaging.
A bad influence.
Yeah, definitely a bad
Dane.
Influence. Exactly. Mm-hmm. And so that's just the first impression that you get of him, that he's kind of obnoxious, sort of a party adventure boy. Mm-hmm. And then it's not until
Vegas trip. Yeah.
Yes. It's not until like later in the book when she realizes she's connecting the dots. He's afraid to be on planes. He's a super homebody. Yeah. What is going on? And it's not until
Amy texts Olive being like, oh, Dane went out, like he needed like a boys trip or whatever. Do you remember that part?
Yes.
And she was like, what? And then he was like, yeah, like Dane made me go on all of those trips. Like my girlfriend Sophie was she got mad at me for going to Vegas. Yeah.
Right. And the dots start connecting all together. And she says, wait a minute, like maybe this guy is not who I thought he was. And then she's been having body issues, mm-hmm. insecurities, mm-hmm. because of a situation that has to do with cheese curds. You got to read the book.
Oh, yes.
And then come to find out that Dane told Ethan, hey, you shouldn't date her. She's a cynic and just an overall just kind of bummy person.
Yeah.
Negative. And she's like, what in the world? Like, why would Dane say that? Because mm-hmm. you don't find out that they're actually secretly, instantly attracted to each other.
Yes, and he knew about... I love the part when she was at the dinner and he knew about her shirt that she was wearing.
Yes.
I was like,
her nerd out shirt.
Yes.
Yes, it had something to do with atoms and like protons. We'll have to go back
Big
and
Bang
see
Theory
if we can
something.
Find. Yes, exactly. So he understood like her nerdy side.
Yes.
And he got all her jokes. At one point in time, she's name calling him Voldemort and things like that.
Oh, the one thing I do love about this book is him continually calling her different names.
Oh,
like
yes,
Olivia. Oliver. That was funny.
Completely annoys her. I think she ends up calling him Eric one time.
Yes.
Just to get back at him. And those are like the little banters that just make the book fun.
But the one part that actually did make me cringe was the whole like bathroom situation when they were getting changed and then somehow they just ended up on top of each other. Someone fell on someone. I felt uncomfortable. I was like, oh no.
Oh, that was, and that is a real life scene. Oh, how I can relate that is...
Oh my gosh.
That awkward bathroom scene, and let's give you a little bit more detail, is because they've had to do everything together as pretend to be husband and wife. They go on a catamaran. Mm-hmm. and go for a little ride. They end up in the downstairs bathroom trying to change with each other. And the awkward scene where like she slips and he falls.
Yes.
It is a almost exact replica and feeling as the proposal where, oh my goodness, the two, Sandra Bullock.
Yes,
and,
Ryan Reynolds.
Yes, where he comes out of the bathroom
Yes,
and she's trying to change, and they hit each other's naked bodies, and they're like,
Ah.
"Oh, you're naked. Why are you wet?"
Why are you what? That's funny.
That is the perfect, like, awkward.
I feel like they definitely
moment
took
scene.
that from the proposal, but like in the best way. Like I don't. Yeah,
It's its
funny.
own original thing. So now, like, that's the first time they're like, well, we've seen each other naked.
Yes.
Everything else is, like, downhill from there.
So, what did you think about the whole? Or like maybe like catch me up.
Oh, okay.
How do we want? And then we can keep talking.
Let me catch you up to where they are. They have left Maui.
Yeah.
They end up at the airport, and Dane and Amy catch them kissing at the airport.
Oh, okay.
So now, like, everybody knows they're together. About called her Olivia.
Oh no.
Olive goes to start her new job and decides that she's going to be honest with her boss about the whole situation.
Oh, no.
As soon as she does that, like, I have to put down my Kindle. I was like, nope, this is awkward. Like, I can't keep reading. The boss says, look, I completely, like, understand. I am a little hurt, but I'm so glad you were honest with me. However, you signed an honesty ethnic clause in your contract, so I have to fire you.
Oh no.
So she doesn't even get to finish her first day.
That's how it ends.
No, that's not how it
Okay.
is, but that's just an awkward...
That's their unlucky.
So this is her unlucky trail that starts coming back, because once that happens, her sister Amy ends up coming over, and she sits down with Amy, and she's honest about several different things. Like, hey, I met with Dane and Ethan at the bar. Dane hit on me. Basically said we could switch partners.
Oh,
like,
my
I
God.
was super uncomfortable. Ethan said I was being ridiculous. And this is leading me to believe that he was, like, cheating on you during the first, like, 2.5 years you were together.
Oh,
This is what I heard from Ethan, and Amy blows up. So I have never really, I never really connected, never really liked Amy.
Okay.
I thought she was super entitled and stuck up
Yeah.
for most of the book. And so this just made me like her not. I was like, you are her sister. You are, and I get it. Like, you don't want to think that your husband is all these awful things.
I mean, yeah.
But that point just got me like, real mad at Amy.
Was she just like upset at the initial? I think she's finding it out for the first time. I can understand why she has like a reaction.
Oh,
but it's
she definitely
not
does.
fair. It's not fair, but I can see where she's coming from.
Oh, yes. Being
Angry.
angry at, I think, the situation, but being angry. I mean, no one likes the messenger bringing the bad news.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to kill the messenger.
Yes.
And unfortunately, Olive just is that for her. Not to mention, Ethan finds out that Olivia breaks the news to her sister, and so he comes to the apartment and he was like, hey, why did you say anything? See, I called her Olivia. I'm part of the banter now.
Yeah.
I am now one with Ethan.
Eric.
But Olive is also, I mean, Olive is also a very awkward name for me. Yeah.
Well, continue your thought.
Okay, let me get back onto it. Ethan and Olive had just agreed that they weren't going to say anything. They were going to stay out of their business.
Yeah.
Which that I understand and agree wholeheartedly to. However, because she told her sister, Ethan just cannot forgive Olive because of how negatively she views his brother, that he breaks up with her. And so now she has lost her job, Ethan and her are no longer together. And she has decided, I am just going to get a restaurant business, like, from my family. And she feels like she's just hit rock bottom. She's like, but I got to find myself.
Yeah.
This point, because there's a little bit of fluff in between.
Yeah.
The part that you're going to hit that really turns it around for me, for Amy, and I'm like, I love this chick.
Okay.
I love her. I love her. I love her. Is finally Amy reaches out to Olive and says, hey, I've been checking Dane's phone and I don't know who these names are of these girls.
Ooh.
They're asking Dane to hang out and he's ignoring them. But why are they reaching out to him to even ask
How
to
did they
hang
even
out?
have his number?
Exactly. And so Olive's like, well, I only know one name, and it's like Tomato Butt Girl. That's what Ethan called her.
Oh my God.
She's known as like Tomato Butt Girl. What Amy ends up doing to reveal whether or not her husband is being true is she secretly texts these girls to come over to the house.
Oh.
She invites Olive over for dinner. Dane comes home from work. And Olive's like, Amy, what's going on? She's like, just watch. Just wait. The doorbell rings. It's the first girl. And Amy acts like nothing's going on. Oh, Dane, who is it? Who is this person? And she's like, I've been like seeing Dane off and on for the last 6 months.
Oh my gosh.
I didn't know he was married. And so she leaves. The first girl leaves, obviously upset.
Oh, no.
Dane is like, oh, no. Like, she's lying. Like, she's an old girlfriend. I don't know why she's here. And then the second girl rolls up as the first one is leaving. And she's like, Dane, what's going on here? What's happening? And Amy yells out, yeah, Dane's married. I just wanted you to know.
Oh God.
Oh my goodness, I said, this chick is epic. And so Olive is just like, yes. Finally, the cherry on top. The first girl's left. The second girl is leaving and Ethan pulls in.
Ooh. So Olive's at the house too.
So Olive sees
Yeah.
Ethan and is like, what's going on? Amy's like, oh yeah, I invited him too.
Ooh.
So Ethan sees like the tomato butt girl leaving and is like, what's happening? Amy's like, yeah, he's been cheating on me. This is who your brother really is.
I love that. Oh, that's so good.
And so Amy literally like pushes Dane out the door. Olive's standing there looking at Ethan like, I told you so. I told you so. And the sisters end up slamming the door on the brothers and just, kind of having some time to themselves.
Some wine, hopefully.
Oh, yes. Lots of wine, lots of trash talk. All the family ends up coming over. But like that scene turned it for me. And I realized, man, Amy's a badass.
She is. She is.
Set it up. Great scene. And of course, Ethan ends up like coming back and apologizing. And there's a grand gesture that you have to read about.
Tell me.
Oh, well, she's working at the restaurant.
Yeah.
Olive is. Ethan shows up at her table just before her old boss and his wife show up.
Oh my God.
So here it is, another awkward situation, an awkward scene you get to enjoy where she gets to see her old boss who fired her and his wife.
With his husband, her husband.
And I love the boss. I can't think of his name right now.
Hamilton.
I love his wife. She's like, she is serving tables. Look what you did. She is a smart, intelligent woman. You can even let her get through the first day. Giving him a hard time.
I would too.
So the Hamiltons get moved to a different table, but then like Ethan gets sit down right after them.
Oh my God.
And she's like, will this night never end? And he's wearing like this tacky I got laid in Maui t-shirt and the lei and everything. And he's like, I'm just here to basically embarrass myself, like, for you. Like, I'm in love with you. And
Aw.
it's very
That's sweet.
Anyway, of course, he apologizes because he was a fool. And they end up in embrace and kissing. And yes, it's very sweet.
That is sweet.
It did. It has a happy ending.
So what is your rating of the book?
Oh, I would give it... I think I would give it an 8.
An 8? Okay, what's it missing?
I think I would give it an 8. There's one other rom-com I think we'll read in the future that was maybe closer to like a 9 for me, just because it has like a little bit more
spice.
It did have a little bit more spice in it, I will say. A little bit more seasoning in that relationship, but it dived a little bit more deeper into like the different emotions between the characters.
Okay.
I mean, you get that slightly in this because you see Olive transform from viewing herself as just this, I have bad luck, I'm super cynical, nothing good ever happens to me.
She felt like, I only read half of it, but I was getting a little, just not like annoyed, but like unhappy with how she talked about herself.
Yes.
And just very like self-cynical. And it was hard to root for a character like that. Because it's like, come on, girl. Like, you got to have some confidence.
Right? Well,
you can't let the guy, like, she's like, oh, I can't believe he's touching me. Like, I'm curvy. It's like, there's nothing wrong with that, girl. Like,
yes. She has quite a few insecurities.
Yeah. Does she handle those throughout the book, or do you think that's kind of left? Okay,
she
good.
does. And this is where sometimes the nice thing about family, this sister dynamic, is they really call each other out. Olive's calling her sister out on not being able to see the issues that are going on between her and Dane. And Amy calls Olive out for like, look, you're becoming this cynical, insecure person who just has like a negative view on every situation, but you have no idea how much more control you really do have. Like, you are smart, you are talented, but you put yourself in these situations that are just not handled well.
Yeah.
And part of it, some of it I do agree with. Like, all right, okay. Like, you're viewing this as all negative. But on, like, the other part, it's like some of it is out of her control. I guess she could have never have told her sister about the issues. That would have saved her a lot of headache in the beginning. But then, I mean, if the brother is hit on her once, what would keep him from doing it again?
That's so disrespectful to her sister.
Right, and it's super, like, could you imagine having a brother-in-law that, like, hit on you and is just, like, awkward around you? And because he's a very country club sporty kind of guy.
Oh, okay.
And it's not supposed to necessarily be like a negative thing, but because he's got this self-absorbed jock attitude along with it, he comes across extremely obnoxious.
Okay. Yeah. No, I completely get it. Because you don't really hear much about Dane in the beginning until that twist happens.
Right. So why he is the way he is, you don't understand that.
Yes.
You do find out, like, why Ethan is a little bit how he is, just because in Maui he ends up seeing like his ex-girlfriend who is engaged after they've been broken up for 6 months.
Yes. Wait, anything happened with that?
Not a whole lot.
It was just like her with her man and just being a little jealous eyes towards Olive. That's all I really got out of it. And Ethan seemed really affected by it.
Yes.
Because he proposed and she sharpied the whiteboard saying, I can't do this.
That is, talk about a situation that you could be viewed as bad luck, as proposing to someone and them the next morning, I can't do this, with a Sharpie on a whiteboard. I mean, there's only a few rejection situations I can think of that might be worse than that.
I can't think of any at the moment.
Well, the ones that are up there are like a text message and an email.
Ooh, yeah. Ooh. Well, you can't really do that if you live together. It's easier on the whiteboard.
It is easier on a whiteboard. I mean, it could have been a Post-it.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Hey,
right?
That reminds me of Grey's Anatomy, the Post-it. Meredith and Derek got married on it.
Yes,
that was
the
cute.
Famous Post-it scene.
Cute. Okay, so do you? You said you had little notes on your Kindle. If you want to share some.
Let me. I know. I guess because we've talked about most of the book, we'll be backtracking just a little bit.
Oh no, so that's fine. I think everyone knows I'm a scatterbrain. We go everywhere in this.
Right, we try and stay in order. So one of the scenes I've mentioned just briefly is because she's been name calling him back and forth. Mm-hmm. Is she said, shouldn't you? She was talking to Ethan. Shouldn't you be out looking for all your Horcruxes right now?
Oh yes.
And he picks up right on her Harry Potter reference and says,
you should have to kill someone to get one of those.
Yes, technically I have to kill someone. And she goes, like she just loves how he gets her in that little humor.
They're both like dorky.
They are very dorky.
Geeky. It's cute.
But I love it because I guess that means I'm a little geeky.
Yeah. I think we all are a little bit. I'm trying to find...
I mean, there's a couple of scenes where she's in that red bikini and all he can do is stare at her boobs. That was pretty funny for me.
Oh, yeah, that's where I'm at, too.
Okay. I have the scene here. It's in the shower, so I've got that.
Here, I have one.
Go.
Okay, so one thing I got, like, a little... It was like the repeating joke, but like it'd be good if it was a good joke for me. This may just not be my humor, but it was a lot about boobs. Like in this one page, there's so many. Here's her saying, I don't want to get your hopes up or anything, but I look really great in this bikini. There's no revenge like being with someone new who has a great rack. And then his like, what an empowering feminist statement. And she's like, I can appreciate my body in a bikini and still want to set fire to the patriarchy. And I was like, all right. And then he was like, he chokes a little, shaking his head. After a few beats of silence, he confides, I had actually just been remembering that Sophie almost got implants when we were together. She always wanted bigger, he mimes cupping boobs. You can say it, I tell him. Say what? Breast, boobs, jugs, knockers. And then he wipes a hand down his face. Jesus, Oliver. I'm like, all right. The Oliver sold it for me, but I'm just like, why is this so many jokes about this? I thought it was funny.
That's probably the first one, maybe one of the small first where she talks positively about herself.
Yeah, no, I did like that.
Mallie starts to really turn it around for her.
Well, she finally gets some luck in her life.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. She starts feeling good about herself, and she compares her body to Sophia's. Sophie's
yeah,
body.
Who's like sorority girl thin, something like that.
However, I don't, just in the way they describe Sophie, I don't feel like she was that attractive. So
I think she was just plain Jane, but there's nothing bad with being plain. You're just plain. You know what I mean? It's like average.
Right. Exactly.
What was one of yours? I have one.
Okay, go.
It's
because
the thing.
I should have highlighted instead of just...
My back hits the floor with a splat. Ethan lands on top of me. If there's pain, I'm too distracted by the chaos to register it. And there is a horrified beat of silence where we both realize what's happened. We are completely naked, wet, in a tangle of naked arms and legs and parts in the most mortifying game of Twister anyone has ever experienced. Oh my God, get off me, I shriek. What the fuck, Olive? You knocked me over. Oh God.
That is the instant laugh out loud moment.
Oh no.
And if you want to talk about like name calls, so I told you she was calling him like Voldemort, but she says, "Rarely I leave this deceptively upbeat version of Satan in the living room to go get my suit and pack my bag."
Oh my god.
So they just call each other all kinds of names through the whole thing.
I love this part too. After she's like, "I want you to know," I tell him as I tug it down my torso, and I'm sure you hear this a lot, but that was by far the worst sexual experience of my life. That was funny. I was like, but then it's like, how am I supposed to root for this romance? Because I feel so uncomfortable.
That's true. If you don't like those uncomfortable, awkward moments, this may not be.
I
the
think
book
I'm
for
reading.
you.
I'm reading too much fantasy where they're always too dark, handsome, and just never show any insecurity. But that's what fantasy is for. It's not very realistic.
And I do. The last book you were describing had a ton of adjectives in it.
Yes.
Where she goes into quite a bit of depth. He tastes like cheap alcohol and contradictions.
Oh,
but is
yes.
still hands down the best kiss of my life.
I highlighted that too. That was good. That was good. I love it.
Yes. Oh, man. That was... I love how he gets drunk on Mai Tais and just...
When he got so, like, happy, like, he got a girl's number, said hi to, like, 8 people, bought shots all in the 5 minutes they tried to get him out.
Right? She's like, are
funny.
you kidding me?
And then they, like, cuddled that night, I think.
They did.
That
They
was
did.
cute. And she let it happen. She didn't have to do what she didn't want to. But...
Right? And he just, like, I know he remembers, but I'm sure it was, like, he definitely comes across as it was, like, fuzzy for him. Mm-hmm. Oh, yes. Oh, $1.99.
Oh, and then he was... yeah. And he tells the receptionist, like, I like her. They're like, what?
Oh my goodness. But it's a good moment. Part of me kind of wishes she would have gotten drunk with him.
I know, that would have been so fun.
And they both could have been a little bit more vulnerable
Loose.
together.
That would have been such a good scene if both of them drunk.
Oh, true. But that's not
hey,
how
it was a simmer.
ended.
It was a simmer.
It was. Yeah, slow.
It was very slow.
Slow simmer.
With a bunch of uncomfortable moments.
A bunch of uncomfortable.
Oh my gosh.
I'm mad that I didn't highlight some of this. Oh.
I just felt so uncomfortable in this scene. And I don't know why. Because, like, I don't get uncomfortable in, like, sex scenes or, like, anything like that. Unless it's poorly written. Mm-hmm. But, like, I feel like this was meant to be uncomfortable. But, like, this is just the massage when I had to put it down. Because I was like, I can't do this. But he was, okay. More oil, more slick sounds of hands rubbing together, and then those enormous hands come down, pressing into the muscle the way Diana instructs. Behind my closed lids, my eyes roll back in pleasure. Who knew a butt massage could be so awesome? It's so good, in fact, that I forgot to be self-conscious and instead let out a near moan. Who knew you were so good at this? And I was like, I don't know. I was just like saying, who knew a butt massage could be so awesome? Just
if you've ever had a massage where you do have to be basically in your underwear, you do have this slight feeling of vulnerability when you are on that table with with a stranger rubbing you down. But it couldn't have gotten more awkward when they were having the conversation of, no, you're going to be on the table. No, I'm going to be rubbing you. No, you're going to be on the table. And she's like, why? And there's like the awkward silence of, I can't have you touching me everywhere or this is going to end really bad.
Yes, I remember that. And she's like, what, like a boner? And she's like, oh. That was That's funny.
Instantly, that tells you you're turned on by me.
Yeah.
Right? You find me attractive if you can't hold yourself together by me just like rubbing your back.
Oh, that was funny. That is funny.
However, apparently he couldn't do that. So
that was funny. So, your rating of this was an 8 out of 10.
it was. But I just love a good laugh. I love a book that is not so serious. That tends to be what I've been reading lately. Like you, the dark fantasies where sometimes there's like life and death situations.
Oh yeah, this is a good in between a series. So you get away from that world so that you can come in fresh to a new world.
Yes. Or the situations like I've told you about the 3 trilogy series with 3 brothers.
Yes.
Where they're trying to get their ownership over a land that is similar to Disneyland. We might have to read that together. But in each one of those situations, there's a time when like the man has messed up really badly and he's got to kind of come in and do a grand gesture to win her over. And so there's quite a bit of drama in each one of those books. And each one of these brothers has gone through trauma in their younger lives that have made them who they are as adult men. Where this, I mean, there's been like some bad luck for Olive. And then there's been, a situation where Ethan's fiance like left, but it's not like life-changing trauma where there's been
I have
death.
a question then. Do you think there was any character development in this book?
For Olive, yes.
Yeah.
For Olive, yes. Ethan, I think he may have had
he was dealing with Sophie.
Yes, he may have had a teeny bit because I think Olive helped him get over Sophie.
Yeah.
He realized, who
that
his
they
brother
weren't even
truly
a good
was.
match. Yeah.
Yes, and he ended up being open and vulnerable with Olive in the end. Mm-hmm. So,
would you want to see a sequel of this?
I'm trying to think what kind of sequel would
Amy, like maybe an Amy point of view of like where something happens with her.
Okay, so that could be, and I would say that would be a nice book to see Amy's side of the story, which is tough because Amy's sick through almost like the whole first part of the book.
Not from this story, but like, what happens after this in the timeline, like where she heads, or what would be good, because I know we just read Carrie Soto, and she was the villain of the book previously, and just like a little blip, like she was the mistress almost. Oh. And so it makes me wonder if we had a point of view from one of those girls that came to the house and see where she went after this and like what her whole story is in a funny way.
That could be a funny connection. I would love to read that. And I would love to read Amy's point of view, because even though she was sick with Dane, I think understanding maybe from her side of things, how you fall for someone who's deceiving you and you don't know it because you're in love.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And then we could see the signs of it. Oh, that'd be
and
good.
You could also have more insight of how she meets this new man.
Yes.
Because at the end of the book, Ethan and Olive, Amy and her new man all go back to Maui together.
I love that.
And Olive just loves seeing her sister so truly happy.
We need a POV of this. The best friends need to get to it.
Let's go. Which I wouldn't mind giving another book a try.
Okay.
Of their series and just see if they're, see if I like a little bit more. Kind of, try out the author.
Oh, yeah.
See if there's other options out there. But this is supposed to be like their number 1 bestseller.
This is definitely their
hopefully we're not starting at the top and just, I don't know if I like some of the other ones. Hopefully they all stay at the same high for me. Mm-hmm. I would like that.
Yes. Well, what was I going to say? So I'm going to keep my rating out of 4, but I also didn't finish it, so I have no right to say anything. I just don't think this was the right calm to my rom.
You by the time you get to the end,
I may appreciate it more.
I think you might appreciate it a little bit more.
I just couldn't get through the awkward moments.
I think it'll get you up to a 5.
Okay.
I think it'll get you up to a 5. It could push you to a 6. It just depends how you see the characters continue to develop, and if you start like connecting with them more.
Yeah. And I think she had a good way with writing for this category, because like I always want to talk about the writing, and like it wasn't serious enough where you get to, you know, learn, like, feel like you're in Maui. Like, I felt a little bit, but it was more dialogue. It was mainly dialogue based. So, like, sometimes I hear, it's like, oh, I could hear, like, the Maui waves, like, in the background. But I want to feel like I'm in it, you know? And I want to feel how cold and horrible it is and wherever they're at, like Milwaukee or something. But yeah, I guess those are my only little tips. Because, like, the comedy is good. I can say it's good. It's just not for me.
They only go into it, I think she only goes into it twice, and it is on the catamaran.
Yeah.
Describing, like, the water and the scene. And then she goes into it a little bit when they take the drive together.
Yeah, yeah.
So she goes into a little bit more of the island and the scene where they're together during that point in time. Oh, she also hits it one more time, but I guess it's not in great detail, where they get up super early and they climb the mountain together. And there's like all the couples that are on top of the mountain, because you get a 360 view of this sunrise.
Yes.
And it's beautiful. You probably could have gotten maybe a little bit more there.
How do you picture Ethan? And how do you picture Olive?
That's the thing. I got in my mind a little bit more of maybe a younger Gloria Estefan, like curvy, Latina.
Yeah, okay.
Sexy character. But along the way, there wasn't a character that just popped in mind for Ethan.
Me too. Because I always, you know, kind of, because it's always the same a little bit, like tall, dark, handsome.
But he had blue eyes.
Yeah, okay, sure. But like, and then she's like, oh, he's so like Big Bang Theory. So then I just got like, what's his name? Like Sheldon, like stuck in my head. And I'm like, I don't. Or like, what's the other guy who dates the blonde petite?
Oh, Leonard.
Yeah, then I got Leonard in my head. So like, maybe that's why. So I don't know. I don't really know.
I would say it's true. I can't think of a actor to compare it to, because he's fit. He's super fit. So it's like I can picture several like fit physiques, but then like his hair is like a little bit longer, kind of brushed to the side, but he's got these deep blue eyes. Super tall. Yes. I'm thinking who I could like grasp for that. So maybe a little bit more detail on him, but sometimes the details of the character, unless it's continually brought up, I lose after a while. Like if I don't automatically have someone in my mind, I almost move on and I focus. Yeah, like I don't mind like letting the readers like have their, you know, like give me the seeds and let me grow the image. Like don't like tell me exactly, because like you have your own vision in your head of whatever it is. And so, like, I didn't mind that so much. And I pictured Olive. I kind of pictured Olive like the authors, because I saw their picture when I was researching the book. And then, like, I don't know, they just kind of like fit. And I don't know. I just pictured her as that. There's several Latin actresses out there right now that came to mind throughout the book. So depending upon what she was wearing or how she was acting, sometimes my brain would switch. And I can't think of any of their names at the moment. They just, oh yeah, maybe she's a little bit more like her. No, maybe she's a little bit like curvier like her. Mm-hmm. I couldn't pick just one. Oh yeah, one person. But if you're going to make a movie about this, the look would be important, but not as much as like the personality. Like
they gotta
Olive's gotta be
banter.
sassy and like on point.
Yes, definitely.
And have a sense of awkwardness.
Like Emma
as
Stone.
well.
Emma Stone does it well.
She does it well. Oh yeah, she can play.
She doesn't have the right look for Olive, but she has that banter, I suppose.
Yes, and she can play an awkward situation really well.
She really can. Like when she accepted like that Grammy, she's like, my dress is broken. And show the whole...
That's true. Who would admit that at the Grammys?
Yeah, Emma Stone. And that's why we love her.
Yeah, the honesty, the raw honesty of like, this is me, like this is who I am. I'm not going to act any different just because like I'm in a huge room of people that I don't know.
Yeah.
Sometimes people are more comfortable with people they don't really know.
Yeah. Some people just say exactly what they feel. But so
I don't know who they'll get for Ethan.
I hope someone new. Someone that we haven't seen before. So we don't have like the background of like what they do. We just see Ethan. But I love the two little geeks. I think they're cute together. But they had to go through war and uncomfortableness. And I thought the paintballing was really funny too.
The paintball scene is the first scene where they start going deeper in the relationship.
She just like randomly asked about
Sophie.
Sophie. He just gives a whole answer in the middle of a paintball fight. I was like, where's the paint? Where is everyone? But then they got obliterated by a 14-year-old, so.
Right, a 14-year-old with a mouth on him.
Oh my God.
I'm about to snatch that boy up and just give him the spanking on his bottom that he deserves. Where's your mom?
Not present, I suppose.
Of course, then there's always like the serious, shirtless, overweighted man who comes in with a paintball gun like he is.
Oh, yeah.
John Wayne, ready to go.
It must be so fun for these two to write this, just like talking about what's going to happen. That sounds so fun.
What would be the most awkward thing that could happen here?
Naked, and they fall. And after that, paintball.
But it gets even worse than that, which infuriated me. Because even in the very beginning, the wedding is done. Everyone's enjoying themselves. Ethan gets up and makes like the perfect toast. She gets up and her cousin keeps texting her all throughout her speech. So she keeps stopping and talking. I was like, you need to ignore...
Yeah.
Put your phone down, woman, and ignore those texts.
Well, her speech is on her phone.
I would have put it down. I would have winged it.
Yeah.
Or I would have called that person out like, can cousin number 43 stop texting me?
That's so funny.
But you feel for her because not only is that horribly awkward throughout her speech, but then everyone starts vomiting profusely
on top of people. Like,
when the groom vomits on the bride.
Dane.
God.
Dane.
Dane
we knew it was doomed from there.
Yes.
Well, so we're going to be reading next week The Lady Macbeth, which is like a dark book. It's like Shakespeare adaptation.
Okay.
It's like in Scotland. I don't know. It's going to be good, I think. And then you have an option if you'd like to join us and join everyone again and read The Fox Wife with us if you'd like, or Leaving. But I know you love a rom-com and some spice, and these are... Leaving is more like Bridges of Madison County, I think. And then The Fox Wife is that like fantasy... mother love book.
Oh, I love Bridges, Madison County.
So yeah, if you'd like to read Leaving with us, I think we'd love to have you back.
I will open up my schedule and see what I can fit in, which I'm hoping you're able to get through the other two books, because come December 1st, we are starting Fourth Wing.
Yes, we are.
We are starting the
Which
Fourth
should
Wing
be
series
like in a week or so.
Yeah.
I've heard mixed reviews, and I'm going to come here and be honest.
Oh yes.
But I'm excited. I'm excited to talk about it, and of course we're going to have a guest Zoom on and talk about it too. She has some thoughts.
Oh yes.
And
Laura Stevenson.
Yes.
She's going to come on. She loves theories.
Ooh,
All kinds of theories. There is nothing. This girl loves to be right on her theories. She's like, I love it.
I love it too. So I'm excited. So come December 1st, we're going to do that. But in the meantime, if you want to pick one of those 2 books and discuss, or it could just be me soloing out, which I don't mind. I could talk to myself all the time. So I do that 24/7.
We do. We talk to ourselves quite a bit. So to be able to talk out loud about, that's 2 different books that you're reading in a week. So you are going to be a busy.
I already did it. So I think it's just a consistent thing.
One?
Yeah.
Okay. So this will be the second. The Fox's Wife?
The Fox Wife. Yeah. It'll be like sometime next week if you like to do it.
Oh, okay. Well, with Thanksgiving approaching, there'll be many hands at work in cooking. So if I do, I might see if I can't find it on audiobook and stick it in my ear, because I will not have time to hold up a book.
Oh, well, of course. I wouldn't expect you to. I would expect you to read it next week after Thanksgiving.
Oh, my.
Not like...
But then I gotta dive into Fourth Wing.
December 1st is the week after that.
Okay.
Fourth Wing is an easy read.
Oh, man.
I promise
it's supposed
you can
to be.
do it.
We'll see.
You'll have a lot of thoughts, so...
I'll have to get some Post-its like you did. And I will highlight as well as page mark, so I know exactly... which lines, and I will try and get on the theory boat. I tend to be focused on like the situations and the in-depth of the character.
I want you to
thinking ahead of how to conjure up a theory of how this person may have poisoned them, but then meant to actually kill this person over here. That is not my...
That's not you. I don't want you to be someone you're not. Come here with the situation.
I do enjoy it. Like when I hear it, I'm like, ooh.
And that's why we're having her on.
Exactly.
Don't
She's
worry.
got to bring a little bit of cayenne to this conversation.
Yeah, that's funny. All right. So that is the end of this episode. I hope you enjoyed the Unhoneymooners. And if you didn't, I hope you enjoyed our discussion anyway, because it wasn't my favorite. But that's okay, because we get to talk about it. So next week, we're reading Lady Macbeth. And then the following week, it'll be either Leaving or The Fox Wife. It'll be your choice. After that, it's Fourth Wing. So R.I.P. So bye.
Bye, Dana. Bye, guys.